Hey everyone, is it just me or does it feel like WWE is in desperation right now? What I mean by desperation, especially for the Raw brand, is at the Great Balls of Fire event, which again is probably one of the more, I do agree, is one of the more ridiculous pay-per-view names they could come up with. They're going to have Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against Samoa Joe. Now, I understand they want to put legitimacy on this belt. I get this. On this championship, I get it. That's why Brock has it. And I have no problem with Joe versus Lesnar. But I think WWE is pulling the trump card a little too soon. Because true, this will be probably the most legit matchup legit and realistic matchup you're gonna get between anybody, between two competitors. It's probably the more believable of any kind of match you could put Brock in. But it reeks of desperation, in my opinion. It reeks of desperation. Why does it reek of desperation? I'll tell you why. Because when you compare Raw to SmackDown Live, SmackDown Live is like it's like one of those variety packs of beer. Every time you pull out a bottle or a can, it's a different kind of beer. It's a fresh new taste that you put in your mouth, that you savor, that you enjoy. This, and when you compare that to something that's always the same, like you take a variety pack of beer and you compare it to your average Coors Light pack, every time you take out a bottle of Coors Light, it's just the same thing. It's the same flavor. It's the same taste. And that's how you compare the two, the differences. SmackDown's like that variety pack it's always different. Raw isn't. And when Raw is basically and when Raw is basically the same boring stuff, you always seek out some kind of way to get people, and people get basically tired of it, and in this case walk out of your event, especially towards the end or in the middle of it, fall asleep, whatever. Then you know you're in desperate need of a change. And that change, not in desperate need of a change, but that means you're also realizing you need to do something to keep people's eyes on the product. And that's why WWE, in my opinion, is doing this matchup as soon as they are. Because they're trying to get people's eyes on the Raw product, especially during the summer. They realize people during the summer are not going to be really watching Raw that much. They'll probably be watching SmackDown probably more than anything else, because like I said, it's like a different variety every week, something new and fresh every week. They're going to probably be watching that over anything else. So when you take a look at the two, when you take a look at what Raw's doing, Raw, in my opinion, is just being desperate. Now, I have no problem with Joe and Lesnar, but to have the matchup, if not one of maybe three or two matchups between the two at this event, this In Your House Great Balls of Fire event, it reeks of desperation. Because if I'm Vince McMahon, if I'm creative, and I'm booking, and I'm the booking committee, I book this matchup for SummerSlam or Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or Mania, one of the big four, not this. I don't book it for something a lot less than that. I don't book it for an event that's of less value than that. And again, it reeks of and again, it's all because it reeks of desperation. They've heard how people have criticized the pay-per-view name, name, even though they're going to keep it instead of change it. And they know that no matter what they try, they're never going to change. So that's why they're never really going to change, and they're going to keep. People are going to keep walking away. That's why WWE is doing this. It's desperation. It's desperation for the Raw brand. Why do you think people are more intrigued with Money in the Bank from SmackDown? Because it's going to be a variety. It's going to have 2 Money in the Bank matches, a women's one, for goodness sakes. And you notice how people don't say SmackDown's doing anything out of desperation, because they're not. SmackDown, as a matter of fact, is doing things the right way. They're doing things correctly in the eyes of many. But Raw, all they're doing right now is pulling whatever they can out of the butts, and this matchup, booking it as soon as they are, is reeking of nothing but desperation. They want to get people's eyes and intrigue on the product. That's why they're doing it. I mean, why else would they want this? Why else would they be booking this match so soon instead of waiting for one of the big 4? See, that right there is a question. That's a major question that needs to be addressed. And you know what? I know that Jeff Siegel, the Stag Daddy, the Lex Man, Don Tony and Kevin Castle, Jason Solomon, Chase Oliver will all agree. As great as this matchup is, and we're all in favor of it, doing it as soon as they are, especially at this event, reeks of desperation on WWE's part for the Raw brand. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think down below. I got to get into work. But let me know what you think. Do you think it's desperation on that part? Let me know down below.